Hello, I'm Hannah, and this is Hannah's Books. Like so many of you, I am excited to see the new film adaptation of Little Women when it comes out later this month. A few friends of mine and I started making plans this morning to attend together. We haven't quite decided which one of us will be which sister, or if we'll dress up, but I can't wait to see the movie. I'm also very excited to be participating in the year-long read-along of Alcott's larger body of work, Louisa May 2020, hosted by Kate Howe and Megan Hannett. I'll link to their channels below. To celebrate the recent kickoff of their read-along, I've been reading several books about Louisa May Alcott and about Little Women this month. Today's video is the Alcott edition of my continuing series, Cooking the Books, videos in which I discuss cookbooks, food, and eating. 2 Little Women cookbooks were released in 2019. The Little Women cookbook novel takes on classic recipes from Meg, Jo, Beth, Amy, and Friends by Jenne Bergstrom and Miko Osada, and The Little Women cookbook, tempting recipes from the March sisters and their friends and family by Winnie Morinville. Both books are charming, but they're a little different. The book Little Women is full of references to preparing and eating food. Preparing food for others and eating together often serves as a bond of love between their family members and friends. But perhaps the most memorable mention of food in Little Women is not one quite so charming or sweet. It's the story of Amy and her pickle limes. And it is those pickle limes that really illustrate the different approaches of these 2 cookbooks. In the Bergstrom Osada cookbook, we get not 1 but 2 recipes for pickle limes. The first is to soak small limes in brine, that is salt water, for several months until the rinds become tender. The author suggests that one can accelerate the process by curing them in a slow oven, that is, an oven set at a very low temperature. The authors of this cookbook point out that the limes made this way are fairly bitter, and the only way they can really understand why pickle limes were such a schoolgirl fad is that the students liked daring themselves to eat intense foods, like kids today might eat flaming hot Cheetos or atomic fireballs. Perhaps so, but they offer a lovely alternative to furtively eating the limes at your desk. Slice them up and muddle them with sugar in a glass of seltzer. Sounds fantastic. Their other recipe for pickle limes is more akin to recipes for preserved lemons, like those used in Indian or Middle Eastern cooking. Cut limes are cured in dry salt for a week or so, then soaked in seasoned vinegar for a while longer. Limes made this way are less bitter, but more salty and sour. The author suggests mincing this kind of pickle lime into salad dressings or serving some next to curry or other hearty dishes. I'm a huge fan of preserved lemons and am eager to try out this kind of pickle limes. In the other cookbook, the one by Winnie Morinville, the discussion of pickle limes is less interesting. The author says outright that it's doubtful that pickle limes would win you much admiration, so she chooses to give a recipe for pickle lime sugar cookies. Cookies made from packaged sugar cookie mix, frosted, and then topped with wedges of jellied lime candies. Perhaps I have strange food taste, but I would be much more impressed by friends who served me salty sour pickle limes than I would be with someone who gave me those awful artificially colored gumdrop-like candies. This particular example makes it seem like I would hate Morinville's cookbook, but I really don't. While I don't find many of the recipes particularly exciting, I love that she provides a lot of wonderful food photography, and I love that she's done some research into 19th century recipes and food traditions. Many of her recipes are for foods not mentioned in Little Women, but common in cookbooks of that era. Another strength of the book, if you're cooking from it, is that it's laid out in a logical way. First breakfast, on through picnics and dinners and suppers, then desserts and other sweet treats. My favorite thing about Morinville's cookbook may be unique to me and other people who share my name. The cookbook author features the March family's housekeeper, Hannah, and her recipes. In contrast to Morinville's book, the Bergstrom Osada book has more interesting recipes, but also far more discussion of the actual Alcott book. Almost all the foods they present are foods explicitly mentioned, or at least alluded to in Little Women, and the two authors, both librarians rather than cookbook writers, give quite a bit of detail about not only the literary setting for these dishes, but about specific 19th century cookbooks and cooking traditions, including the explanation that cookery books of that era often included food for invalids, something important in several places in the novel Little Women. I really appreciated that kind of discussion. I also loved the author's literary commentary, including the fact that they support my side of the Laurie Bear debate. Although the recipes look quite delicious and seem well thought out, the order of their presentation is decided not by the usual cookbook chronology of breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert, or whatever. Instead, it's structured by literary concerns. We get Meg's recipes first, then Joe's recipes, then Beth's, etc. I don't think I've ever read a general cookbook that had a recipe for ice cream and then wedding cake in the first few pages. I don't think that choosing this structure was a mistake, though. It really emphasizes how much this book is about literature, not only about cooking. On the other hand, I would really like a list somewhere, beginning or end, with the more traditional cookbook ordering of their dishes. While I don't mind it at all, not every recipe is accompanied by a photograph of the completed dish, something I know a lot of readers have come to expect in a cookbook. One more comment. Despite the fact that the Alcott family were mostly vegan, the March family was not. Both these cookbooks are pretty heavily meat-centric. Both books are also full of all sorts of other things people often try to avoid eating, from wheat to sugar. Neither book will find a place on the healthy eating shelves at your bookstore. Still, for diehard Alcott fans, these are both books to thumb through, even if you don't intend to cook a thing. As for me, I'm eyeing the hot lemonade from the Bergstrom Osada book right now and planning to go make myself a cup to warm me up on this very cold afternoon. Thanks for joining me today. See you soon.